Hello, Bill. How are you? How you doing? Good. How's your house? Great. Really great. Good. I get to see it. It's standing on the lake in front of me. That's good.
Really? On behalf of the Chamber, welcome to our last red carpet luncheon of 2013, the State of the City. I want to thank, first of all, our centennial sustaining sponsors who help us do what we do throughout the entire year. And they are, and please hold your applause to the end, the City of Hamilton, Fort Hamilton Hospital, and Mercy Health Fairfield Hospital. Let's give them a hand. Also like to thank our event sponsors for today, and they are DeCosimo, and I know I saw Chris. Let's give them a hand. And once again, Mercy Health Fairfield Hospital. Let's give them a hand. Special thanks to TV Hamilton for being here today and the Hamilton Journal-News for their coverage of this event. Now, the last few weeks, the last 10 days, has been an exciting 10 days at the Chamber. We've held several ribbon cuttings, and then we have a big event, community event coming up this weekend, starting tomorrow. One of the ribbon cuttings we held was just a few doors down from us, and I think that business person's here today from MK Dental Excellence. Neelam Goel, are you here today? If you are, please raise your hand back here. Welcome to the Chamber of Commerce. And to continue with that excitement, before I introduce the mayor, I want to encourage everyone to attend Operation Pumpkin in historic downtown beginning at 11 o'clock tomorrow and running through Sunday at 5 p.m. Now, Operation Pumpkin has become one of Hamilton's signature community events, and the Chamber would like to applaud the entire committee and everyone involved in making this event the success we know it's going to be, because this stuff you see outside is going to stop here in a minute. So if you're on that committee, would you please raise your hand? Operation Pumpkin, I know some of you are here today. If not, you're out working on Operation Pumpkin. Let's give them a hand for their work. And on behalf of the Chamber, I would especially like to thank Chamber Leadership Class 22 for adopting the duck race for your class project this year. So imagine it's over 20 individuals who have partnered together to help make this event come off, and they're truly community leaders helping this event be the great event we know it's going to be. Now for the State of the City, we're going to do what we've been doing the last few years. I'm going to introduce the mayor, who will make some comments, and then when he's done with his comments, he will introduce the city manager. Pat Moeller joined City Council in 2004 as vice mayor of the city of Hamilton. He was elected mayor in 2009. His background in law and law enforcement and volunteering assist him in his city duties. He attended the Hamilton City Schools and graduated from the Ohio State University and Chase College of Law. He is an attorney and a former county assistant prosecutor. Please welcome Mayor Moeller to the podium as we listen to the State of the City.
Good afternoon. As Kenny mentioned, the city address has two parts, basically an opening act and a headliner. And I am the opening act, and the city manager, Joshua Smith, is the headliner. Now, I complimented myself about being the opening act because the talented but troubled Jimi Hendrix was the opening act for the pop group The Monkees at a concert one time. You know, Hey, Hey, We're the Monkees, that pop group. Now you're all going to have those songs in your mind. But seriously, City Manager Joshua Smith is the rock star city manager who has turned vision into completed projects. Let me provide some observations and some facts. Last year I had one slide that said the word partners. Now I'm better with colors and pictures. These are some of our partners with whom the city has worked. As city leaders, pretend your name is up there on that slide because we need your help. All of you are partners with the city. Partners have helped the city to succeed in various areas of our strategic plan. Those various projects include improving our entryway and traffic flow, creating a business development team, becoming an even more green community, strengthening current leadership and generating new leaders and volunteers in our neighborhoods, and also funding the Core Fund to continue to revitalize our core business district. And that's just a few. And now city administration and city council are emphasizing measurements and benchmarks to gauge our progress. Prior to mentioning specific city department accomplishments, I'd like to salute our schools and volunteers. Hamilton City Schools have hired dozens of new teachers, have purchased 3,000 technical devices, and had $5 million in scholarships awarded to its graduating students, including Mariah Kraft, who was the only Butler County winner of the National Merit Scholarship Award. The Hamilton City School District's new mission statement is to prepare students for college, career, and life. Baden High School has increased the use of technology in its curriculum, has upgraded its facilities, and had 14 graduating students who were each awarded in excess of $100,000 in scholarships. And Baden has created a new vision, which is to profoundly shape the way students think, achieve, serve, and lead. Our volunteers, what great volunteers that we have, and they're great partners. Some groups, such as the River's Edge Amphitheater Concert Group, Operation Pumpkin, July 4th volunteers. Churches are part of those group of volunteers, including the Millville Avenue Church of God, which I want to mention them specifically because they run a community meal each week, as well as they have a large school backpack and supply program they put on each and every year. Other volunteers are more individuals. They're like in front of organizations. Alfred Hall, Patty, Jenny Hubbard. They're the Urban Gardens and Farmers Market folks. Frank Downey, James Brown, Tim Spoonster, Barb Cope in our neighborhoods, and Pastor Dennis Kidd, Pastor Gary Chance, and Unity Picnic that was held at the BTW Center. I've attended their meetings, went to their special events. Those folks are all great leaders, and we're very blessed to have them. Add to that list Steve Timmer, who I believe will be seen operating an earth mover sitting next to a dog, creating the dog park at Veterans Park in Hamilton, Ohio. And Judge Moser. Judge Moser, your sign is just about ready to be put into the park that you created. That'll be very soon, and we look forward to that day when we have the unveiling of that, and that's what it's going to look like. Now, we did lose two of our volunteer group supporters, and Dennis Curlis and Robin Curlis of the Riverbank Cafe. Other restaurants support our groups with fundraisers, and I thank them. We're blessed to have those restaurants who do that. But I do wish the Curlis family well. You know, I missed those trivia contests at Riverbank. So I'm at Riverbank at the trivia contest. The question is, name the world's largest Beatle. I quickly say Ringo. You know, John, Paul, George, and Ringo, the Beatles. I was kind of proud of that answer. I really was. Now for some city department accomplishments. In community planning, we've adopted form-based zoning in core areas to create a good mix of pedestrian vehicular development. We've updated the Community Commerce Park Master Plan. We increased the efficiency of construction services, which has handled large major permits, including the Fort Hamilton Hospital emergency room renovation and the medical building at Tri-Health. Community planning has also had 43 properties declared a nuisance through the Environmental Division, and staff nurses who have worked in the vital area of public health. In finance, we completed the 2012 Comprehensive Annual Financial Report, as well as the popular Annual Financial Report, and we had a clean audit. We also collected $382,000 in revenue from unreported tax filers in the past 12 months. In civil service and personnel, just an interesting notable fact, applicants who wanted jobs in city government, as well as the schools here in Hamilton, have come from all over the world, including India, Pakistan, California, Texas, New York, and the Carolinas. In the police department, the 2014 budget, in comparison to the 2009 budget, reflects nearly $2.5 million in savings over the past 5 years. There was a comprehensive retooling of the policies manual in that department, and technology solved hundreds of cases, including the 2009 homicide of Stephen Denmark, the solving of which featured significant follow-up investigation. City of Hamilton also has entered into a contract with the Butler County Commissioners for the 911 dispatch services, which will result in considerable cost savings to the city. Accomplishments of Public Works Department in 2013. Street Division crews paved and repaired 19 streets using over 2,000 tons of asphalt. The Golf Division assumed full responsibility of both of our golf courses and was profitable. Parks Division continued efforts to beautify the city. If you've noticed the plazas along Route 4 with the planting of flowers and shrubs. Fleet Maintenance implemented a preventative medicine program for all vehicles. And what a great idea, preventative maintenance. Traffic Division converted the McDoulan Garage into an automated attended operation. And the Engineering Division continues planning, design, and construction oversight of various street, bridge, stormwater, and streetscape improvements. In utilities, by becoming green, we are saving green. Green as in money. And that is due to renewable energy, community recycling, and utility rates. In the Water Department, that elevated tank on Eaton Road was rehabilitated. We won again the best tasting water in the state of Ohio. I think it was unanimous. That's the third time we've won that award. In wastewater, you've noticed the work being done along the river by the dam as well as by the Arch Street Bridge, and those are sanitary sewer lines crossing the river. Regarding electric, the Meldale project is now 78% complete. The commercial operation date is projected to be January 1st, 2015. The electric system has been operating with 3 new substations, so the frequency and duration of electrical outages has been greatly reduced. We also won an award from the APPA for being the top 5% nationally for system safety and reliability. In gas, we've maintained the lowest residential gas rates for each and every month of the year in comparison with other gas providers. And we continue to invest into our infrastructure in the station and main replacements. Which leads me to the Economic Development Department. We as a city are blessed to have that group with such a great skill set working for us. I'm glad a city manager gave me a hall pass so I can even walk through Economic Development Department because they are much more brighter than I am. But I get a chance to walk through there sometimes. Add those together with our city manager's office staff and our fellows program recipients, and we have an impressive think tank in our city which generates success. Our city manager is going to go into some detail about some of these successes, but some include very notable capital investment, job expansion, new jobs to our Hamilton business community, the new BizTech model, which will continue to help businesses startups by working with Cincy Tech, Centrifuge, Miami University, and Butler Tech. The land bank, which we're using to stabilize neighborhoods and increase the value of properties, and that is through using state monies with a much smaller Hamilton match to demolish what we hope to be 100 structures by the end of 2013. And stay tuned for other announcements. Our Economic Development Department, City Manager's Office, and Fellows Program are populated with young achievers right now. And they are the young generation, and they do have something to say about our city's future. Our City Council has been very busy, not just going to council meetings, but being involved in projects and committees. Vice Mayor Carla Fear is our TID representative, attending South Hamilton Crossing meetings, a very important project, as well as she serves on Ordinance Review Committee and the Cleanup Committee with me. Councilmember Rob Weil made significant impacts in the creation and the success of River's Edge Amphitheater and the Land Bank program I just told you about. Councilmember Kathy Klink has organized our neighborhoods at impactful meetings under the Sense of Place city goal. With the help of Council members Tim Knabb and Archie Johnson, she also helped create the new TV Hamilton framework of partners. Councilmember Tim Knabb has been working with the Art Space Project as well as with the Finance Committee meetings. He's the chairman of that committee, and many of those of us on council do attend those meetings. Councilmember Archie Johnson has helped in the reformation of BTW Community Center, is now working on safety improvements in our community. Councilmember Robert Brown, our Public Utility Commission, attends those Public Utility Commission meetings, is our OK multi-state representative on the Transportation Funds Committee, and has been working with the fiber optics potential in our city. Now, when I get the chance, I like reading about other cities. I read about a town in Minnesota, Eden Prairie, Minnesota. It's a Money Magazine best place to live, and it has a budget surplus. It has natural beauty, a well-educated workforce, excellent schools, great employment prospects, a large business community, and a high quality of life, and they have 62,000 people, and they do all those things. West Des Moines, Iowa, also a town our size, which at one time had Main Street challenges, revitalized its Main Street to a place where hip meets history. And that can happen, I believe, in Hamilton, Ohio. Now, questions all of us need to answer. Why not us? Why do we sometimes settle for low-hanging fruit success instead of high-hanging fruit success? And who's to say if we succeed? Well, we are to say. We are to say if we succeed. Let me give you a true story about our city employees. I'm wrapping this up because you want to hear from Joshua. This is about our city employees. He's just an example. My secretary wrote on Facebook about a recent Hamilton High School graduate named Brooke Best, who was in the U.S. Navy. She loves our world's best tasting water. Brooke proudly took our Hamilton water with her to boot camp. Her mother, in a post, mentioned our water. I emailed after 5 o'clock last Friday Doug Childs, John Bowie, and Greg Petridis. Again, this is after 5 o'clock on a Friday. Well, they all exchanged emails for over an hour because I asked them to please find a way to get our Hamilton bottled water from our South Water plant to the USS Nimitz on the Red Sea. Now, the team, especially Greg Petridis, got it done. That case of water is now on its way to sailor Brooke Best on the Red Sea to share with her lucky sailor friends. And I want to thank Brooke for her service. I want to thank the water team for getting that project done. And a note to the media, this is going to be a surprise for Brooke, so please don't mention this at all. It's going to be a surprise to her. And thank her for her service, but that's an example of what our city employees are able to do. Would all of our city employees please stand and be recognized for the successes they have had the last 12 months? So please stand, all city employees, and give them a round of applause if you would. And that is very, very well deserved. Now you'll next hear from our headliner, successful and creative Hamilton City Manager Joshua Smith, a recent recipient of 2 prestigious 40 Under 40 awards in economic development, as well as community leadership. Ladies and gentlemen, Joshua Smith.
Pastor John Lewis was kind enough to come up to me before I started speaking, and he says, based on a conversation I had with him last year, I know how stressful you get regarding this. I want you to know I've been praying for you since this morning, which I thanked him. And then Danny Crank came up and prayed, and I'm pretty certain that negated the effect of Pastor Lewis. So if I do bad today, there is the guy that you blame. The mayor, as always, did an outstanding job. Before I jump into the address, I do want to thank City Council, primarily to my left here, who I think, of all the councils I've had the pleasure of working for, does an absolutely tremendous job. And please give them one more round of applause for doing a great job. The picture that's on the screen right now, the photo that's on the screen, came across my computer last Friday night about midnight. You can see the boats in the picture. And the Cincinnati Paddlers Association was in Hamilton, Ohio, Friday. They launched into the river and took the photo, sent them to us. It's a group that's been working with us about how we can bring more recreation type opportunities to the river. And I saw this photo in particular, and I thought this was a great photo to start with. The one thing I often think about is perspective. What is people's perspective, and how do you gain a different perspective? When you have a city that is old as Hamilton, essentially started in 1791, it's been around obviously for a long time. It's easy to get entrenched in thinking, it's easy to get entrenched in thought, but seeing this perspective of Hamilton, seeing the monument, and you can see off to the distance, you can see the River's Edge Amphitheater that obviously was not sitting at that site in that capacity 12 months ago. I thought it was just a great perspective photo. Last year, I talked about the next 24 months being very critical in Hamilton's future. So I'm sitting in my kitchen last night, I bring up YouTube and I start watching the speech last year. I need to remember what I promised last year we're going to do the next 12 months so I could talk about it. And I happened to turn 40 about a week ago, and Lane Library, Carrie Mancuso, was kind enough to make me a cake made out of Hostess cupcake and Twinkies. So after it was sitting on my counter for a week, I decided it was time to start eating it. So I'm eating a Twinkie watching this, and I got to the part where Life Ray and Josh Asbury came up. And I started thinking, it's probably not good I'm eating a Twinkie right now, because here's Josh Asbury standing next to me. You know, the excuse is the TV always adds 10 or 20 pounds. I swear for me it adds 50 pounds. But then you bring Josh Asbury up, I swear I gained 100 pounds. So I'm gonna talk about a lot of people today, but I don't want anyone coming up and standing next to me because then it's on TV forever, and I don't want that. But I'm gonna spend some time talking about the last 12 months, and then I'm gonna talk about the next 12 months. Obviously, City Council recrafted the vision statement for the city about 3 years ago, and Council understood very intuitively that it had to be a work, live, play combination. That if we did one of the three or two of the three, that we were not going to be successful. And I'm going to start off on the work side. Past 12 months, 280 new jobs have been announced to be filled over the next 3 years, and substantial capital investment. This is not enough. This is a good start. You know, we've made a little progress, but we need to double, triple, quadruple these numbers. We know that. We're working very, very hard at that. And again, the mayor touched on a lot of the accomplishments by the city departments. We understand that this is a good step forward, but we need to accelerate this. A couple of those companies I do want to talk about, and the first one is ThyssenKrupp Bilstein. They've announced 100 new jobs, over $11 million of capital investment. Some of you may not be aware of this, but ThyssenKrupp Bilstein, their North American office is Hamilton, Ohio. That is a very, to me, it's a very special designation to have. They have facilities across North America, but this is what they consider home. Fabian, I don't want you coming up standing next to me, but I'm going to bring you something. City Council passed a resolution or an ordinance recently. We have renamed Burke Boulevard to Bilstein Boulevard in recognition of what they have done for Hamilton, Ohio. That is yours. Valio, which is out in the same neighborhood as Bilstein, has announced 105 new jobs with over $16 million of capital investment. Roadrunner, 10 new jobs, over $4 million of capital investment. Coolants Plus, 17 new jobs. LifeRay, that we already talked about, 12 new jobs, and you're going to see some more photos on this shortly. Ames, which is located out at Vora Technology Park, 45 new jobs. In the past 5 years, I was going back through the track application that we submitted to the DOT, and this number really jumped out at me. $140 million invested in over 5 years at this facility. This is a number I don't think a lot of people are aware of. This is a huge number. This is why when we talk about the importance of South Hamilton Crossing and opening up Miami University Hamilton, opening up Vora Technology Park, and opening up University Commerce Park, this is why we need that type of capital investment. ODW Logistics, quietly becoming one of the fastest 500 growing U.S. companies, located at 20 High Street in Hamilton, Ohio. This is a brownfield picture. This is where the former Marcel's Towing Company was at. In the distance, you can see the Kroger anchored shopping center sitting there. Obviously, that was a brownfield site in the not too distant past. This is what we need to keep doing with properties that are no longer vibrant or active. We need to systematically get through them and turn them into something positive. Champion Paper, Smart Paper. This is a question I get asked quite a bit. Mark Frank, the Vice President of Operations, is here again this year. He was here last year. He said I put him on the spot and handed him the microphone last year. I won't do that this year. But over $2 million has been invested primarily in demolition. Again, the plan was with the former Smart Paper, Champion Paper location is to demolish what is no longer a viable building or buildings, to recreate something that's been in our town since the 1850s. I'm really going to be excited next year when I put up a couple slides of this site, because you're going to see, I think, some pretty incredible activity, something that it's hard to imagine today as we sit there, but the progress has already started. But when the road infrastructure and the building infrastructure is enhanced, it's going to be pretty incredible to show that. BizTech. This is something that I want to just stop for a moment, and I want to thank the past BizTech board. Several of them I've seen in the crowd today. And I also want to acknowledge the new BizTech board. If you happen to be a member of the prior BizTech board or you're a current member of the new board, would you please stand up for a moment? We talked last year about the importance of organically growing new companies in Hamilton, Ohio. We talked also about the days of landing 1,000 new jobs or 15 new jobs in one fell swoop. It doesn't happen very frequently anywhere anymore. BizTech is going to be ground zero for Hamilton, Ohio in job creation. The one thing that we have taken a very hard look at is how do we engage areas outside of Hamilton to create jobs in Hamilton that once they're incubated and accelerated in our community, that we can try to keep them here. The one thing that I think is very important to note is that some of the people you saw stand up, and again, an incredible thank you to the board that was there. Some of them are still there. We have some new board members, is the fact that we've reached out. Miami University Oxford is now on the board. Cincy Tech in Cincinnati is now on the board. LifeRay is on the board. You know, we're reaching out to the type of industries that we've said that are important to our community. We're aligning with the engineering department in Oxford, and Cincy Tech that does a lot of technology startup companies. How do we keep bringing those assets? The mayor talked about partnerships. He's exactly right. We need to keep engaging partnerships. The LIVE piece to me is very exciting. I think we've made a lot of community progress in the last 12 months. This took place earlier this year. You can see Mr. Fitton hiding behind Butch Hubbell's shoulder there, but Vice Mayor Fear, Mayor Moeller in the picture. But this was something that, in my mind, was a very important undertaking. I'm going to give Woody Fitton all the credit, the YMCA staff all the credit for really taking the bull by the horns. This was, in my mind, an underutilized center for too long. Under Woody's leadership and the YMCA's leadership with Butch Hubbell and the others, we've been able to expand the programming at the BTW Community Center. We've been able to expand the hours of operation. There is structure there. And if you've not been down there in the last 6 to 8 months, I would encourage you to stop by. I think you'll be very, very impressed. Main Street, Rossville, German Village. The Vision 2020 Commission, under Nancy Wiley's leadership, has taken this on for the next 12 to 18 months as priority projects. We talk about the vibrancy in our downtown. We talk about Hamilton's core. We're going to talk about the core fund in a moment. But our downtown neighborhoods are critical to Hamilton's vitality, are critical. German Village, Main Street, Rossville, we can go on, but those neighborhoods in particular, the ones that touch downtown Hamilton, we need to do a better job of, call it the over the Rhine vision, where if you repopulate these areas and you take these beautiful historic homes, that our downtown will be much better off because of that, because you're putting instant shoppers within walking distance of our downtown. Lindenwold, the mayor talked about, the protocol group talked about the Sense of Place Committee, Councilman Knabb, Councilman Klink. It's incredible when you see the amount of tireless hours they put into the neighborhood initiative through the Sense of Place Committee. Frank Downey, who's on the far right-hand side of that photo, works nonstop. To have strong neighborhoods, we need people to champion those neighborhoods. The East End, the land bank, which we're working on right now to demolish homes that look like this or properties that look like this that are damaging our neighborhoods. The community reinvestment area is a tool that the city has created under council's leadership to provide incentives for you to take a property in a historic district and make it into something that looks a little bit better. I apologize, I didn't trim my bushes in that photo, but the mayor talked about the school district, both Baden and the public schools, what community assets they are, the fact that the Hamilton public schools have invested so much capital money into providing a good learning environment for the children of Hamilton. Fort Hamilton Hospital, the city's #1 largest private employer. And I cannot say that too many times because Fort Hamilton is critical. If we have a partner that's linked to our hip for success, it is Fort Hamilton Hospital, and we need to do everything in our power to make sure that Fort Hamilton is successful. TriHealth has put a big investment on the east side of Hamilton, which we're very thankful. I took this picture with my iPhone yesterday. I love this photo. I love the juxtaposition of the Robinson Schwinn sign with the new Lane Library Community Technology Center sign going over it. Just show hands. Who has been inside the new technology center at the library at Robinson Schwinn? Well, you're going to be shocked when you see this photo then. That is it. It is an incredible, incredible facility. Cindy Dingledine, who is with us today, this was her vision working with the library staff. It is hard to describe it until you walk in there, but when you think about what True West has been able to do since they've entered the Robinson Schwinn. You've added this on. We're going to see a photo of Life Ray in a moment. This is Hamilton's future. This is our future. Small-scale development like this, where we have available office space at lower rates. This is what we need to be doing. This is what we need to be replicating. For those of you who don't know, this is a 3D printer, an incredible tool. I actually sat there yesterday and watched it for a while. Apologize to council for not working harder, but this thing is incredible when you see it in action. MK Dental opened up right across from the YMCA downtown. The grand opening ribbon cutting ceremony was this past Friday. It's a fabulous facility. Fabulous facility. I would encourage anyone that's looking for a new dentist to think about, again, downtown Hamilton, that 2 or 3 years ago, if you would have said that we're opening up a new dentist office in downtown, I think a lot of people would be scratching their heads. But as Kuhn Restoration has showed us, if you put people in the downtown that live, that they will do the work and the play also. This is the old print shop in the Journal News building. Again, when the mayor talked about partnerships, without partnerships, this project doesn't happen. Take a look at this photo for a second and contrast it with the photo I'm going to show you momentarily. It's an incredible transformation of a building that if community partners had not engaged in this immediately, I guarantee you it would be sitting empty right now. Another shot of inside the old Journal News building. Jeff Speck was here at the invitation of Lane Library in the last week or so. And we had a chance, several city staff had a chance to walk around with him, and we talked about downtown, challenges of downtown, and someone mentioned a parking problem. Well, this is the view from my window last night. I guarantee you if Hamilton has problems, it's not parking. And I'm going to steal a phrase from Jeff Speck. He says, if we have anything, we have a walking problem, not a parking problem. But in that same vein, Butler Tech called me last week, and there are some parking issues, if you will, with where they're at. So we put our heads together. I explained to them I truly didn't think there was a parking issue. Butler Tech was kind enough to come down and meet with me last Friday, and I essentially showed them this from a different perspective, but these parking lots. And City Council is going to have an ordinance in front of them in the next 10 days where we're going to lower the rates for students in downtown. The one thing that, again, council deserves a lot of credit on, this is an outcome-based council versus thinking about, well, how do we, do this or do that? They're saying, we don't care. All we know is that if Butler Tech, who's anchoring one of our historic buildings in downtown, needs parking, we're going to provide them a successful outcome, which is council's passing an ordinance. If you are a student in downtown Hamilton, I shouldn't say they're going to pass it. I'm assuming they're going to pass it. But if you are a student in downtown Hamilton, you can park right there for $10 a month. The gentleman that was with me from Butler Tech said, well, MLK is a busy road. And right after he said that, a group of students were walking over to go to McDonald's. And I was like, if they can go to McDonald's, they can park on that side of the road. So, plus they'll probably help McDonald's out. If the Schmitz are here, you're welcome. But we've talked about downtown parking. For those of you who have not noticed, I think several of you have, the parking has been changed substantially. If you're on High Street, it is now 2-hour free parking. If you are going around the blocks, some of the areas along Market Street and 2nd and 3rd Street, we've removed the parking meters. Again, it's going to be two-hour parking. We sat down, we talked to everyone, different stakeholders from the YMCA to Milliken and Fitton. There is parking under the parking garage. We have adjusted the parking in the city's parking garage, so it's 2-hour free parking now. And the other thing that council is going to have in front of them in the form of an ordinance in the next 10 days is that if you park on the 3rd or 4th level of our parking garage, that the cost of parking goes down, I want to say this right, I'm pretty sure it's $15 a month. Again, we want to incentivize people to use our structures that are empty. And some people have said, well, we're going to make less money. I'm going to argue that we're going to make more money. You can charge $15 and try to fill it up, or you can charge $30 and let it sit empty. It's also, in my mind, it's a public safety issue. The more traffic you have in and out of our parking structures, people will tell you the more traffic, the safer they feel. So that is really what we're trying to accomplish. I know this is a very, very small thing, but I'm very proud of this pocket park. First Financial Bank had talked to us about a year and a half ago about this building, some parking issues they were having in the downtown. We did a trade. This park is a product of First Financial Bank, not the City of Hamilton. First Financial Bank did this. This is an incredible improvement when you come into downtown. We're going to talk about the East High Gateway Corridor here in a moment, but this just adds to, that's my office window up there, so I get to watch that as it was transpiring. But small things like this make a difference. When you have an empty building sitting on a primary corner that's dark, that sends a message. When you take that building down, you infuse it with green space, and you take the fountain that if you've not seen Jim Blunt's history on this fountain, you need to read it. It's incredible. I mean, this goes back to the very beginning times of First National Bank in Hamilton, but it's really an incredible history. The golf courses. City Council, again, last year said we were bleeding money in the golf courses. We're going to correct this. If you have not been out to the golf courses, or if you've moved an outing to a different golf course because of whatever reason, I would highly encourage you to come back and take a look at the condition of both Potters Park. What's the other golf course again? Twin Run. I was going to call it something else, and that just didn't sound right. But and that one too. We need to go to Twin Run also. But Adam Helms, I apologize. But really a very strong improvement, because the golf courses in my mind were a microcosm of Hamilton. For a long time we were not investing capital dollars into these facilities. And what happens? You get into a downward spiral. If you do not invest and they become, worse condition, people start leaving, then you start raising rates to try to make more money, which never works, and pretty soon you have a bankrupt system. To council's credit, they drew a line in the sand last year at budget time, and both golf courses, Adam, correct me if I'm wrong, as of yesterday, are turning a profit this year without any subsidy from the city. So that's an incredible thing. The Fitton Center, an anchor institution in Hamilton, 20th anniversary this year. Remember, we have this facility here. We need to support it. Anything that we can do to help. Programming ideas, I think everyone is open, but again, it's when you think about the reinvestment on the river, the Fitton Center really was the initial step in that direction, followed a few years later with the Vision Commission and the rowing on the river, which is a tremendous asset to us. Now with the amphitheater, slowly but surely, one block at a time, we're rebuilding what we need to rebuild. But again, congratulations to the Fitton Center for 20 great years. This is one of my favorite photos. When you look at the smart paper off, or the Champion paper off in the distance, and you look at the new amphitheater. Again, the juxtaposition between old and new to me is incredible. But I have a slide at the very end of River's Edge that actually was taken just this past weekend with the Pink Floyd cover band that I think is just incredible. True West, the Cannons in the front row. Not to put you on the spot. Don't come stand next to me, but what a tremendous improvement downtown for Hamilton. I was there yesterday to meet with actually Mart Frank, the Vice President of Operations, over at the former Smart Paper facility, and I saw a council person in there eating lunch with a business person. I saw a line of 6 people when I got in line. I looked out the window. There were people sitting out in Journal Square Alley. I walked around the corner to take a look into the new Library Technology Center. There is vibrancy for the first time. I mean, it's been there in fits and spurts. There is a consistent vibrancy that I'm feeling now in Hamilton that's absolutely incredible. Next 12 months. The mayor talked about green energy and what Meldal means for us. This is an incredible photo. I was there recently, standing at the powerhouse, looking up at it. First and foremost, we need to thank the people that had the vision for this. Several of them I see in the room right now. I see Charlie Young in the back. I see Doug Childs here, Mike Perry, Mark Brandenburger. There was a vision that was executed. And you cannot discount the vision for a project of this scope. Scott Owens will tell you that he's stayed in a hotel room in Washington, D.C. and read through pages of legislation to make sure that Kentucky did not get this project. This is a critical project. This is a game changer for Hamilton, Ohio. 80% complete, targeted online date of January 1 of 2015, when we have companies coming, if we can tell them that we will provide them, specific companies, 100% renewable energy, that puts us in a whole different league. And really, I mean, it needs to go back further than that. Go back to 1890, when we started our natural gas utility and our electric utilities in the late 1800s. Someone in Hamilton, Ohio had a vision that created the success that we saw from that point through the 1960s. I mean, we don't have a Champion being successful. We don't have a Beckett being successful. We don't have all the tool and die companies that were successful without having the infrastructure. So I'm going to keep pounding in the next 12 months. Infrastructure is going to be a very common theme. We need to invest in infrastructure. If we don't believe in ourselves, we're not going to invest in ourselves. If we believe in Hamilton, we will invest in Hamilton, and that is one thing that we have to keep doing. Compressed natural gas. The city's retail station will be open on Route 4 in the next 12 months. You'll see it under construction here probably in the next 60 days. This is a very critical project. There is no compressed natural gas fueling station southwest of Columbus. There's none in Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky. It's going to be in Hamilton, Ohio. We've received a lot of phone calls from people that do a lot of shipping about this facility. This is something that's not even really on the radar. People aren't really talking about this. I guarantee you this is going to be a very popular topic in the next 24 months. This is Washington Park down and over the Rhine. When we think about River's Edge Park, obviously we have about a third of it complete. What do the other two-thirds look like? I'm definitely an advocate of keeping it our downtown's backyard. I mean, I think for those of you that have been to an event this year at River's Edge, just with a piece of it done, the incredible vibrancy it's added to Hamilton, Ohio. To see 2,000, 2,500 people on a Thursday night attending a concert is absolutely incredible. Again, thank you to Karen Whitmer, thank you to Adam Helms that have both worked in concert on, no pun intended, on getting the music down there. It's been a tremendous job. Thank you to our park crews. It's always the fun part is seeing the music. As our park crews and public works will tell you, it's never the fun part tearing it all down afterwards. But the one thing that I'm definitely going to be working with City Council on is a charrette process with key stakeholders in the room where we can take the rest of this blank slate that is now known as River's Edge and turn it into something spectacular. And we need it to be spectacular because there's a buzz about Hamilton, Ohio that's happening right now in Cincinnati, in Columbus, in the Dayton area, and projects like this will keep that buzz going. Bike trail. Several of you have seen the work in the river with our Interceptor project. The bike trail is going to piggyback on that. Again, this is going to be a very important asset for us from a quality of life perspective as we move things forward. Splash pads. City Council has said we need to invest in neighborhoods. We need to reactivate our neighborhoods. We want young families moving back into Hamilton, not leaving Hamilton. Small things like this, again, don't seem like a lot. I guarantee you they will make a big difference. Lindenwold and the west side are going to have splash pads in 2014. That's my promise to you. And my further promise is that we're going to look and work with the neighborhood groups, the Sense of Place Committee, to keep finding how we can improve quality of life in individual neighborhoods, because it can't all be just in downtown. We have to make sure that our neighborhoods are a vibrant place. South Hamilton Crossing. I asked Rich Engel if I could say there'd be shovels in the ground in 2015. He told me I had to say 2016. He's overly cautious. I'm going to say 2015. No pressure. The East High Corridor. When we're sitting here next year at the State of the City address, hopefully I'll still be up here talking, this project is going to be a signature project. This project to me is one of the projects when I first came to town that I heard over and over again from our largest employers that if we're going to attract quality of workers, Hamilton has a beautiful downtown, but the stretch from Route 4 to the underpass to get there does not look good. It has an impact on people that have never been to Hamilton when they're first coming in. People that are from Hamilton, they know Hamilton's beauty, they know Hamilton's architecture, but for bringing new people in, that first impression is critical. I am very, very excited about what this project looks like. I know that doesn't look like anything to you, but that is sort of a working board that we look at as we try to figure out property acquisition, where the medians are going to go, where the decorative street lights will be installed. But again, a big thanks to our public works and our utility crews that have worked very hard. And frankly, the project's actually been underway for 6 months. Most of you have not seen it because it's mostly been underground utility work. There's been a few roads resurfaced. A lot of underground utilities have been upgraded to 2013 standards. But again, I'm very excited about talking about this project next year. Art Space, again, this is a project that's been in work for years. This was a community partnership again. It was a city council, it was a vision commission, it was a chamber of commerce, it was a lot of people talking about the Hamilton Community Foundation. How do you revitalize downtown Hamilton? You know, what's really interesting is that the Mercantile sort of moved in front of this, which, by the way, I think it's important to note that of the 29 units at the Mercantile, I believe that all 29 are full and there's a small waiting list. So we definitely can have downtown living in Hamilton. I think it's going to be reinforced when this project is done. But again, this was a community partnership, a community effort, a lot of starts and stops, but it's, you're going to see tremendous action in the next 12 months on this. And that's just a screenshot of what one of the apartments will look like in Art Space. The core fund. You know, it was important not only to get the core fund in that photo, but to also get CDA in that photo. The Dingledines have been an incredible, incredible resource for a lot of the positive activity. You need people that have that creative vision to get things done. Obviously, Mike has invested very heavily on the core fund side, but I think sometimes we forget to thank Cindy for all she's done on the visioning side and making sure that the places like the Lane Library look good. But actually, I should have hired you to come into my house when I redid my house in German Village. But that is Elder Bierman. I'm not saying it's going to look like this. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. But this is what Elder Bierman can look like. When you leave today, take 10 seconds to look at what Elder Bierman currently is today. This is the vision of what Elder Bierman needs to be. The core fund, again, if there's anything in Hamilton, I will tell you there is impatience, which I love because I'm a very impatient person. And there are a lot of examples of what the core fund is in Hamilton, Ohio. But the interesting thing is that if you look at the Catalytic Fund in Northern Kentucky that was started years before the core fund was going in Hamilton, Ohio, the core fund has already moved on purchases. The core fund now owns this building. We're working with several development companies to turn this into a reality. But the core fund is really a great community partnership. And I really think next year at this time we're going to be talking a lot more about than simply just the concept plans that we're showing you right now. From an information standpoint, the city is launching a smartphone app on October 16th. This is a QR code that will be launched on the 16th on the city website. All you have to do is scan it from your smartphone. And we're going to start off with about 3 primary areas, including if you have, for an example, a street light is out, you can take a photo with your smartphone, click on the City of Hamilton app, it'll automatically attach a photo and send it in. So that way it provides real-time action on things like potholes and streetlights being out. It's also going to have an information piece to it, but we're really going to make this a much more robust tool the next 12 months. And there's a lot of things I really wanted to talk about today, and I apologize, I think I kept people over, but please stay engaged. There are 5 more Coffee with the City Managers scheduled throughout the rest of 2013. I'm holding 3. I think there's one at the bowling alley, one at Pyramid Hill, and one out at Colonial that are going to be more budget-centric, if you will, because it'll be in the month of November. We do have a Facebook and Twitter accounts. Please follow those for information. We do have an e-Notify weekly newsletter that goes out, and please keep an eye out for any of our new print materials. This is a slide up to this point I'm still not sure what I'm going to say about yet. I will tell you that I was engaged in an email conversation until about 11:30 last night with the ownership group of this. And all I'm going to say is the gloves are about ready to come off because I'm tired of looking at this outside my office window, and we need to do something about this. So we'll leave it at that. Pink Floyd cover band, that is a great, look at that downtown. I mean, what's that? I'm sorry, 90 Proof Twang. I'm sorry, we switched photos, but 90 Proof Twang. But again, we had over at that concert, which was probably our best attended concert, we had between 2,000 and 2,500 people. With that, the mayor was going to come back up, and we're going to be glad to take some questions. Yeah, the question was, are there grants available to dredge the river? I can tell you that we're actively engaged in a lot of different conversations on how we take the river and turn it more into a recreational asset, and that's definitely a key piece of that. So thank you, that's definitely important. Absolutely. The plan right now is that, I'm sorry, the question was, were the only 2 splash pads going to be at Lindenwald and over by the former Wilson Pool site on the west side? For 2014, the answer is yes. For 2015 beyond, the answer is definitely no. Council has said that we need to reactivate all the neighborhoods, and our hope is that you're going to see a lot of splash pads just because they're more cost effective than the swimming pools are, but in the next couple years.
Those are the first 2 locations.
Yes. The question was that there's been some theft. Can you say, are you on 2nd Street or?
MK Dental.
Yeah, 2nd Street. Well, I will promise you that the Chief Scramese and I were going to get with you in about 2 minutes.
That's responsiveness right there.
Well, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. My name is Lee Sanders. I'm the president of the Hamilton Rotary Club. And aren't you so proud to be part of a city with so much going on and with so much potential? Let's give the city one hand. And finally, I'd like to thank you so much for attending today and for your part, each one of you, for your part in making this an incredible place to work and to live and to play. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you so much.